Hello and welcome to the Comics Atlas. This is the series in which we talk about the complete history of comic book characters. With the Goblin out of the picture, Spider-Man has one enemy less to worry about, but 100 more will certainly come and smack him in the face. Will he crumble upon them or succeed as he always does? Without further ado, hop on and let's begin. It's issue 41 and Peter's back with a new motorcycle. You know who else is back? Jonah Jameson, the astronaut, the son of Jonah, who we last read of in The Amazing Spider-Man #1. He argues with his father about the hero, but ends up telling us about his last space adventure. When he returned to Earth, he was covered in a bunch of space spores. They were seemingly harmless, but the space agency was still keeping an eye on him 24/7 just in case. Jump to today's antagonist, Rhino. He's spotted in a desert across the southern US border, knocking out the police. Normal bullets just won't cut it against this big fella. We return to Peter, who stumbles upon Betty Brant in the streets of New York. You only have to imagine the next scene. Uncomfortable silence and an interesting conversation just to make our protagonist realize how distant is the memory of his love for the lady. He's only saved when Ned Leeds crashes into the cafe and steals the woman's attention. The next day, reports of the Rhino in New York arrive to the ears of Spider-Man, so he must get in uniform and swing around to save the day. Would you believe it, but the new guy is after Jonah Jameson. After snatching him away, it's Webhead's turn to play catch-up. It's no hardship for this hero, and a destructive fight between Spider and Rhino wrecks the streets at night. Brute strength won't make it, so it's clever use of webbing and the Rhino's own momentum that defeats him. When the police arrest the guy, his suit just won't come off, so it's sure to be a problem later. Then, at ESU, Puny Parker lays his eye on Gwen Stacy for the first time. Maybe his luck will change for once. If we follow the first pages of issue 42, you'd think his luck remains the same. He is seen robbing a bag from a bank and throwing it in the river. It should be funny explaining. In any case, we watch the Jamesons saying goodbye to each other at the airport. But at that exact moment, something weird happens to the son. He randomly grows in a matter of seconds and gets super strength. Surely, the spores have made their effect. Now, being examined by government doctors, he's given a costume courtesy of Tony Stark and proclaimed as a brand new superhero. Jonah sees a clear opportunity to use his son to catch his red and blue nemesis. Back with Rhino, scientists can explain his weird costume and how it can be taken off. Funny enough, Foggy Nelson is assigned to give him legal protection. When Peter botches another attempt from Gwen to get to know each other, he puts on his costume and goes away, only to be surprised by the powerful Jonah Jameson. Experience is key. Even with his new abilities, Spider-Man licks him off for the moment. We learn what really happened at the start of the story. Our hero sends a bomb in a money bag, running to stop it from exploding. He gave the impression of committing a robbery. God bless his soul. He visits the elder Jameson to rub on his face the non-existent crime. Just moments later, John also looks for his father. He asks for Webhead, but he seems changed, now only craving for vengeance. He gets his chance and Peter senses the difference. Luring him to a power plant, he causes an explosion that kills the spores and returns the astronaut to his true, original self. That's all for the action part, but we still have an important matter to settle. After many months of teasing, we finally meet one lady. Her first words say it all. Face it, Tiger, you just hit the jackpot. Mary Jane has arrived. Let's end this Rhino trilogy. As every single person on Earth could have predicted, he escaped from the scientists that were holding him prisoner. Side note, now it's official, Ned and Betty are engaged. Speaking of love, it's in the air inside Anna Watson's house. Peter and Mary Jane hit it off immediately. She's adventurous, free-spirited, and gorgeous, just the opposite of what Parker thought she would be. But the evening is ruined by our great antagonist. Despite having a terrific time, Peter must go on and stop him. But he's permitted to have fun, right? Yes, he takes Mary Jane along for the ride. While this happens, the Rhino remembers his backstory. He was hired muscle, an idiot who was experimented on by a network of spies. After months of testing, he was covered in a new adhesive that became his second skin. Tougher than an actual Rhino, he was believed to be the strongest hitman around. How does he repay them? He destroyed their facilities and escaped to become his own man. His ploy to capture Jameson just a way to make money from the nations that would pay for him. In the present, Spider-Man arrives to settle the score. It's another one of those bombastic encounters, both men jumping and screaming, trying to catch the other by surprise. This time Rhino prevails and Webhead is only saved by a police officer. Returning to the scene, Peter is able to collect a sample of his rival's skin, that along with some nice pictures make Parker's night a little less sour. The sample is taken to Dr. Connor's lab, where both sciencemen believe they found a way to get rid of Rhino, a man who is still insisting on getting hold of the Jonah Jameson. Near the hospital, it's part 3 of the battle between the superhumans. Spider-Man wins it with cheat codes, dissolving Rhino's synthetic skin and punching him directly to the police. You wouldn't believe it, but it's a downer ending. Flash has been drafted to the army. Gwen and Mary Jane don't care about good old pity, and aren't made out of medicine. Swallow the pain, boy, just swallow it. For me, the star of these chapters wasn't Spider-Man but Peter Parker. There are a lot of things changing in his life as of late. He has forgotten about Betty and is once again available for the ladies. Obviously, the big moment to witness was the introduction of Mary Jane Watson. She will become a major player in the life of Peter, but not just yet. It looks like that relationship will take time, just like the one with Gwen Stacy, who Peter has just recently taken an interest on. The guy got a new motorcycle and is already planning to get his own apartment. Slowly but surely, our hero is becoming more and more independent. It's just nice to see your favorite character grow up right in front of you. The action was okay. There's not much to say about Rhino and Jonah Jameson. Serviceable villains to be nice to them. Just if you're gonna read this, prepare for a lot of text. Anyway guys, that's it for today. Don't forget to leave your like, share and subscribe down below. You can also check out my other playlists on heroes such as Thor and Daredevil. This is the Comics Atlas, and I wish you all a nice existence.